We're going to cross to the UK to look at the gender stuff going through schools there at the moment, and quite a political weekend there, certainly for the Labor leader on this very issue. But let's bring in the panel first. Before all of that, Sky News contributor, former Liberal Minister Gary Hardgrave, and former Liberal MP for Boothby, Nicole Flint. I want to get to other issues, so a quick comment, if I can, from both of you, though, on Aston, given your history in the party. Gary, a number of people said to me today, as I rang around and spoke to locals, that the Moira Deeming saga, quite a strong religious vote out in Aston, played out poorly. Do you think that would be right?
Look, I agree, and the religion goes across a lot of different cultures as well, Peter. Look, the point is, this Pesutto bloke, he's now running around saying to everybody it had nothing to do with state issues, yet for the last 2 weeks, during the time everyone was actually putting a vote in the box, he was creating headlines about how he's only interested in what was going on in the Liberal Party room at the Victorian state level. This guy's got to go. He's got to resign. He's got to quit now. He's got to go. And if he won't go, the party room should get rid of him before Anzac Day. And if the party room won't get rid of him, then people who are angry with the Liberal Party in Victoria should join the party and deselect every sitting member of the Victorian State Parliament, because, frankly, they're the issue that I think lost a lot of voters and a lot of credibility for the Liberal Party. If you're going to play with the Liberal Party brand, you can't wreck it the way this Pesutto bloke has done. And I think he's a disgrace and he should go, and go now.
Nicole, I said the candidate worked hard, but she was like Keneally, installed by head office into a seat she's probably never been to in her life. And that stuff matters in key marginals, doesn't it?
Look, Peter, only having, a month to campaign is a near impossible task for any candidate. I think that she was an excellent candidate. She's got an amazing background, great story to tell, but expecting to get your name recognition and your face recognition up with just a month against the Labor candidate it was her second election campaign is just an impossible task. But just back on the Victorian State Liberals, we know Australians and voters hate nothing more than disunity, and that is all they saw from the Liberal Party. They were just talking about themselves. They weren't talking about voters. They weren't talking about Labor, and the public hate it.
Exactly.
Hey, Gary, put your old hat on as a Howard Government Minister for Multicultural Affairs. The Green Senator Mehreen Faruqi, she wants to abolish Harmony Day. No, you'll know it better than anyone. But she says Harmony Day whitewashes the historic and ongoing racism in Australia. She wants it to go back to being the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. I might add, that's a UN treaty, and that UN treaty also says you don't do things like make permanent racial discrimination in your founding documents, like we're proposing to do with The Voice. What do you think of it all?
Well, Labor Party, the Greens, they just want division. I mean, Robert Menzies talked about the strength Australia has through its diversity. He said that back in 1951. Nothing has changed. Every individual brings something to the business of Australia, but no matter what culture, Peter. And Harmony Day gives a chance for people to get to know each other. I don't understand the problem with it. I'm sorry that Mehreen Faruqi had a problem when she arrived in Port Macquarie 22 years ago, but seriously, take the chip off your shoulder, lady. Most people in Australia are happy to embrace others from different places, to learn a little bit about them and find out what they've got in common. That's really quite critical in my view.
Now, Nicole, don't take this a bad way, but you used to be quite a policy wonk when I knew you all those years ago in government. Graham Lloyd, the environment editor at The Australian, my audience know him well here as a guest. He has had a good look at the safeguard mechanism that's now passed the Parliament with a Labor-Greens deal. He says it's a carbon tax.
Yeah.
Peter, we have seen this horror show before. This is a replay. I cannot believe Labor are doing this again. It's absolutely terrible for the Australian people, for hardworking Australians, for hardworking Australian business people. I hope that it ends in absolute disaster for Labor, but I'm deeply concerned about the terrible impact it will have on the nation in the meantime. We will see lower investment, we will see lower numbers of jobs, and we will see lower baseload power, and that means we'll see higher numbers of blackouts and we will see higher prices. This only hurts Aussies, and it is going to be a disaster. And again, we've seen this horror show before. I cannot believe Labor are doing it again and have entered into an unholy alliance with the Greens. I mean, you know, it's a good message for the federal Liberal Party next election. A vote for Labor is a vote for the Greens.